Hey there everybody, Gary from Constricted and Addicted. What I wanted to do real quick was give you a quick little tour of the enclosures. I've gone bioactive on 6 of my enclosures for my snakes. Some of them are working out really well, others of them not so well. The retics are kind of burying the plants in some cases, and in other cases when I go to bring the snake out, it wraps the tail around the plant and tries to bring the plant with it. Through discussion with some friends though, what I found is that I just pack them back down, get them wet. So far they're living, but it's not as nice as when it was when we first started. So the bioactive live plant theory is not working like I thought it was, but only on a couple of the enclosures. So let's take a quick tour, take a look real quick, and then get into an update. If you're new to the channel, I want to welcome you to Constricted and Addicted. If you've been around for a while, thanks for coming back. What I wanted to do is just give some updates on some of my snakes. I have not had my Hog Island boa on camera in some time. I've been really fascinated with the retics, obviously, and I've been paying a lot of attention to my retics. But you know, as I go through my retics, I'm also handling my boas. And this guy right here, this girl I should say, she just shed just the other day, and she is such a beautiful, beautiful Hog Island boa. Believe it or not, this girl is almost 3 years old, and she's nowhere near the size of some of the boa constrictors, or the Hog Island boa constrictors that I've seen on social media. She's quite small, as a matter of fact, but I don't overfeed her. She still gets fed once every 2 weeks, and she seems to thrive on that, so I'm not changing anything. Produced by Vin Russo, and just a beautiful, beautiful Hog Island boa. Her name is Adrestia. Where she got the name is one of our songs in my band. We have a song called Adrestia. She's a Greek goddess, and I've just felt it was appropriate to name her after that song. So it's really hot here. It's been like 105 degrees here in California. And one of the things that the snakes, when they get on me, they're sticking. And I can see that it's kind of probably not so comfortable for the snake and not so comfortable for me as well. So I'm going to go ahead and put her back. We'll get somebody else out. Here is another one of my locality boas that has shed over the last week. This is my Guyana Odin. Odin was produced by Off-Center Reptiles, and I've always been in love with this guy's tail. It's so prominent, it's almost blood red and just so long. Plus he has just a beautiful, beautiful diamond shape on his head. Very clean Guyana, very wonderful animal. And I've had this guy since he was a baby. I got him when he was about probably 6 months old. And he is just 2 years old now. He was born in 2020. Just a wonderful animal. Again, with the retics, I really haven't been paying too much attention to my boas, but I'm trying to get them more circulated into handling now so that everybody's getting the same amount of attention. And my hope is that the boas will now have more time on the camera, or at least as much time on the camera as the retics do. So this is my beautiful, beautiful Guyana boa constrictor, Odin. here is my Suriname boa constrictor, and he actually just shed the other day. This is King Darius. What's really cool about these guys being in the bioactive systems is their shed has been under their hide. So when I go to get them out and I see the shed in there, I go in there and I pull a shed out, and half of it's been eaten by the isopods that are in the enclosures. So, and the isopods just go everywhere when I pull that shed out. So it's really cool to see that the system is working the way it's been described to me. I gotta tell you, I've been cleaning minimal poops from their enclosures. I go in there and most of it's already cleaned. I get some of the bigger pieces out that I find, but for the most part, I mean, it's like it's almost self-contained. The isopods are doing it for me. It's really cool. I mean, I try to be on top of the cleaning, making sure that there's no feces left over in their enclosures. And what I'm finding is just like urates. I am finding some of the larger pieces of the poo, but for the most part, it's just it's very minimal on the cleanup, which is really cool. If it wasn't for, like, we'll take a look at Clarice's enclosure here. She lays on top of everything. So she's got like a plant and a half left in that enclosure. It's kind of comical, but I'll get with Clarice in a minute. But let's go with King Darius right here. This guy was produced by Craig Land, and I swear this guy is my favorite of all time. He was the very first locality boa constrictor that I ever owned. I did a lot of research on this guy before I brought him home because I wanted to make sure that I could care for him properly. And what I did was I started implementing the same care that I was giving to King Darius to all of my snakes. So it's a very easy thing. Once you get their heating and their humidities all dialed in, it's very easy to maintain. So just a beautiful animal. I love this guy. Super grippy. I don't know if that's just because it's the BCCs, but both of my BCCs are super grippy. Just a wonderful animal. I love this guy. Trying to get a really nice shot of his tail, but he's obviously gripping on it pretty good. Super nice speckling underneath his chin, or under his whole underbody. Just a beautiful snake. Beautiful, beautiful snake. Do a little update on Clarice, which I'm super happy about the bioactive enclosures and her in particular. When I got Clarice, I found that she likes to push. And if you don't own a retic and you don't know what pushing is, retics, I believe, some of them can be notorious for like pushing on the enclosure with their noses. And what she will do is she will nudge her nose in between the glass and the enclosure body to wedge it in there, and I just felt terrible. I didn't know what to do. I thought I was going to have to put her in a bin so that she couldn't do that. I talked to a lot of people. I didn't want to feed her all the time that I saw her doing that. I was told that that is one of the ways is to feed her. It'll slow her down, and it would. But I didn't want to be feeding her every time I saw her doing that. So inadvertently, without even thinking about it, when I switched over to the bioactive systems, hers was one of the first enclosures I did. And one of the things that I noticed was that once I put all the plants in and she had all that cage decor in there, she stopped pushing. I have not seen her push. She's a squirrely little girl. I have not seen her push at all since we switched her over. Her face looks so much better, and I mean, I think she's just, in general, she's happier. She's got so much more to interact with in her enclosure. The retics are always very inquisitive, on the move animals. but I don't know. I tend to see a little bit of a difference in them now that they're in the bioactive enclosures. I'm a big fan of it. One of the things that I will be doing is going to a reptile show this weekend, and I'll talk more about that when I pull out one of my other snakes. Then there's this little girl, huh? You're such a good girl. You're such a little sweetheart. You always want to come out. You always want to interact with me, don't you? Cora is like my best friend. I totally trust this girl, although I still use a hook on most occasions to get her out. But she is absolutely one of the most interactive reticulated pythons that I have. I'll go ahead and get her out here in a second. One of the things that I always do, especially with someone like her, is she's ready to come out. So I don't believe I need to use a hook with her. As a matter of fact, I could probably reach in, but what I want to do is just let her do a little bit more exploring. Let her get a little bit more on the explorative side, and then, like right now, I could probably absolutely just go right in, get her, and she's good. Cora is absolutely one of my favorite animals. And I love all of my snakes the same, but there was just so much more work with her, and she's getting bigger. She's definitely getting more inquisitive as we grow together, and I love her pattern. I cannot say enough about Chris McVicker. One of my next videos I'm going to do is a video on all of the reticulated pythons that I have purchased from Chris. But she is just one of my absolute favorites in my collection. To say that she gets handled the most, I think, would be a misstatement, because I think I try to handle all the snakes the same. But she definitely has a big place in my heart because of the trials that we went through when I first got her. I mean, I never in my wildest dreams thought that this is what our relationship would turn to. She's like, I mean, literally, she's one of the only two retics I have that I could just open up the enclosure and just let them come out. All of these lights are timed to go off at 6:30 p.m. So I've turned them all on for the purpose of the video. But one of the things I really love about this is, check this out. Alexa, turn off Clarice's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off George's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Ruby's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Odin's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Willie's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off King Darius's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Adrestia's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Olive's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn off Coconut's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on Emma's lighting.
Okay.
Alexa, turn on Athena's lighting.
Okay.
All right, so one of the things that I really wanted to do today was demonstrate getting her out. We've done a couple of videos already with demonstrating how to get out a large reticulated python. But, you know, there's been some recent videos about, in my opinion, mistreatment of reticulated pythons. And what I have here is Emma is about 10 feet long. She's a very, very large, strong, powerful reticulated python. These animals are not aggressive animals. They don't wake up and that's what their intent in life is to be. When you've got somebody who's mistreating them, they're obviously going to do what an animal does, and that is protect itself. This animal gets loved every day, so she has absolutely no defensiveness about her. She really doesn't even have a feeding response, but given her size, given her strength, I always be careful. Right here, I have the hook that I use for her, and what I will do is usually, whenever I move this key around, here we are, she's right there. I don't know where my GoPro got too hot at, but this is a GoPro 10. If you use it for more than 10 minutes, it overheats, which is really stupid. GoPro, please fix that. Anyhow, as you can see, she's a very long animal, very powerful animal, and I always use caution when getting her out. Now, normally she doesn't ever have any sort of a feeding response, but you see, as soon as I opened that, she moved. She saw this glass open up. The one thing I don't want to do is stand in front of her, so I don't want to open up this glass. I want to open up this glass because I still have protection between me and her if something should happen. So a lot of people will do this. They'll open the enclosure with the hook. That way there's no heat signature at all with the snake. Now what I will do is gently rub her with the hook. I'm not tapping her. I'm not hitting her. All I'm doing is basically telling her that I am here, I do not have food, and I would like to get you out. At this point, I'm fairly certain that I could get her out. I'm going to pull her and leave her right there. Now, I'm fairly certain that she is fine, so I want to support her. And bring her out as such. Now, the reason that I did this today was to basically show that there's a trust that takes place between myself and this animal. This reticulated python gets handled by me very, very regularly. So she knows that I'm not going to hurt her. She knows that when she's coming out, she's going to get some enrichment. She's not going to get grabbed in a way that she doesn't want to be grabbed. I might be jostled and tousled in ways that because she's trying to do what she wants to do, but that is the life of living with a snake that's excessively long. I mean, this is a 3-year-old, 10-foot animal, and if I'm going to have an animal of this size, I've got to learn how to handle her. But the thing is that she's out. You can see her. She's under my neck. She's in my face. She doesn't want to hurt me. What she wants to do is just kind of cruise around, get around, do what she wants to do, get some enrichment, and that's her life. That is absolutely what this animal thrives, is getting out and having that enrichment with me, enrichment with her surroundings, getting to do and getting to stretch out and getting to do what she wants to do. Now, one of the things I do have to be careful is that we have other animals in this house, and there's a cat right on the other side of that couch. Not that she is trying to get to that cat, but she doesn't even know the cat's there. She just wants to stretch out and go. My point being with all this is that reticulated pythons, to me, and it really, really depends on the keeper. These animals, if you treat them bad, they're not going to react well. They're going to remember. They're very smart animals, and if you treat them bad, they're obviously not going to treat you very well. They're going to be defensive. They're going to be scared. They're going to want to not be held. They're going to want to do everything they pretty much can to not be in your care. But as you can see, if you treat them well, oh my God, they're wonderful. They are absolutely just wonderful animals, and I get the same enjoyment from her as most people would do from a cat or a dog. So one of the reasons, I mean, that was the main reason that I wanted to do this tonight, was to show you that if you see any type of shock value video concerning not even just reticulated pythons, any type of snake at all, that it's not the snake's fault. Because if that's the case, I wouldn't have such a beautiful animal right here. This animal would be very upset and wouldn't want to be held by me and would be in my face and probably, would be doing something much different than just laying her face against mine. 99% is the keeper. If you're going to keep an animal like this, you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to read up on it. You've got to study it. You've got to get educated. You've got to treat this animal the way you want to be treated. I love these animals, and trust me, they're going to get all the love in the world from me. So I love this girl, and she's going to get big. She's going to get really big. And we don't know if she's going to get 20 feet long, if she's going to get 16 feet long. We don't know until she's there. But regardless, we're aware of that, and we're going to give her all the love we can every day that she's with us. There's just something about handling an animal that has so much power that it could possibly hurt you, but yet you have and you feel and you've just developed this trust, love, and respect. I mean, this animal knows that I don't want to hurt it, and I feel that she's not going to hurt me. She's beautiful. And we'll end this video with my newest baby from Chris McVicker. This is Celia, and she is my 50% Selayer, 25% super dwarf reticulated python. I've been super happy with the animals that I've gotten from Chris, so much so that I'm going to do a video here. Probably one of my next videos will be all on the animals that I've gotten from Chris. I really wanted a baby retic to raise, and he has given me 3 retics that have all been right about the age of 2 when I've gotten them. So when he had the Selayer baby, and it really started with Emma, just holding Emma and her sheer size, I fell in love with the, handling a very large snake. And I've always wanted to raise a snake. Now, I don't know how big she's going to get. We can always predict, being a dwarf, she could get up to 14 feet long. But the reality is we're not going to know how big she is until she gets that size. So I'm prepared for anything. I'm ready to raise her, and I'm just, her temperament, super docile. I mean, right out of the box when I got her from Chris, she came from Oklahoma City. She came right out of the box, and she was just like this. And she's just super inquisitive. So I love her. And one of the things that's important to me, that I continue to build this relationship with her so that she trusts me, so that there are no issues with me getting her out. She's a reticulated python, so the reality is that they have feeding responses, and I'll never be able to take that away. But what I can do is show her and train her that when I'm getting her out and I don't have food, that's what I'm doing. I'm not getting her out to harm her. I'm not getting her out for any other reason but to handle her, to give her love, and to give her enrichment. I just love this animal, and I'm super glad. If you are looking for a reticulated python, I always suggest Chris McVicker and New Shed Serpents. He's always done me right, and every animal that I have gotten from him, and I'm sure you guys have seen the reticulated pythons that I've gotten from him, have been absolute quality animals. You guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. We'll get some more videos up, and you guys have a good night. We'll see you next time.